Hey guys, you can see in this picture, we lined up the doors before we cut off the sail panels. And then I used a grinder to cut off the sail panels, and then I went back through and drilled out all the spot welds. And you'll see that. And this one we have the driver's side, same thing. We cut it out and then went through. You can see here we drilled out all the spot welds there, preparing for the new wheel wells. Um, Wasn't too many surprises in this side. We kind of knew from the other side what we had. So back to the passenger side. As you can see, once we took that off, underneath the support was pretty rotted underneath of it. So I had to drill all the spot welds out. And I cleaned it up and found just a little patch panel and welded that in. And then went back and installed that support in the door, re-welded it, cleaned all that up with the wire brush, and then did silver POR underneath the whole panel just so it was protected when we put the new panel on. You see both sides were done. Um, the driver's side has the wheel well ended already, but we'll go through that in further detail. So I used the dynacorn minitub kit, which I didn't even know existed until I went to order the sail panels, and I knew they had to be replaced, so I figured while I was in there I'd just go ahead and cut it out. So here we kind of drew a template of where it needed to be cut on just a black piece of paper, some chalk, and then transferred that onto the metal. You can see here we ground it out, cut through the frame, supported the frame, and then sized it. We had to cut the rear support for the behind the seat just a little bit, just cut that little ear off there to make it fit. They fit pretty nice. I went right over the back. We had to end up cutting that shape out of them and welding it in. They're the spot welds, but they fit really nice once they're in. They're really a well-fitting mini tub, which I was kind of hesitant about at first. This at first, there were some really big gaps that we had to kind of massage. The first thing we did was had to cut the trunk ring to be able to pull that in a little further. As you can see, it pulled in pretty good after that. We used tie downs on both sides to pull that gap even closer. And you can see in some of these pictures that the gaps worked out perfect. Driver side, same kind of issue. Had to cut the strip around the trunk, just kind of a cheese wedge shape out of it, put the tie downs around it, pulled it right in, got it all clamped in place, welded it, tried the back window before we welded it permanent. Back window is perfect, the gaps are perfect in it. Then we went ahead and welded everything in place. Did seam sealer on the wheel wells, got the trunk supports welded back in. In this picture, you can see with the doors closed, everything lines up. All the body panels, all the lines in the body panels line up. The doors lined up really well. Re-welded all the weather stripping, the stock stuff. It was still perfect. One of the few things that wasn't rotted out on this car. Did some metal working here. Like you saw those gaps a little bit, so we did have to cut some metal and get those gaps cut out. But you can see there with the tail panel, the trunk, the stock trunk, everything lined up perfectly, which we knew going into that because we had been sizing it the whole time. So there's just seam sealed it, sanded the whole bottom once it was all done. We put it in primer, and then the trunk, I went ahead and did pour 15 over the whole trunk, and then I bed lined it with U-Pole Raptor liner. You can kind of see those are Those are 315s on there, which actually I think I can go 335s at the right rim. So I had plenty of clearance in there for those tires.